What's up, WWE Champions Universe? Welcome to Champions Chat, the fastest growing podcast dedicated to the WWE Champions mobile game. I'm Jinder Mahal, Rusty Graves. With me, as always, Babyface, Drew McIntyre, Lee Brown. We're the three-man band. What's up, Lee?
What's up, Rusty? So I get to be Jinder Mahal, but like when he was like fresh faced and looked like a child, like he looked like a cherub. Or I
I said
mean,
I
Drew.
was gender.
Oh,
You're
Drew
Drew.
McIntyre. I meant Drew McIntyre.
Drew Droopy McIntyre.
Droopy.
He um he was not impressive back then.
Yeah,
It makes sense why he kind of just disappeared and had to reinvent himself in NXT because he kind of looked like a Slim Jim back then.
he did. And I love, I love in the game how we've got his gear where his three-man band, he had those like super tight leather pants and he looked like an 80s like rocker, like maybe he belonged in the band Poison
Yeah.
or Rat or something like that. And I love the story of how the Claymore came about, like the fact that his pants were too tight and he tried to kick and it was like Rat and he fell. That was great. So
Is that really how that came to be?
yeah, his pants were too tight, so he was going up for a big boot, but the pants were so tight it pulled his other leg with him, and he kind of like fell with style, and they were like, "Oh, that's your new finisher." Well, not really. He developed it over the time after that. Yeah.
So, if you remember the movie School of Rock, I always thought that Drew looked like the bad guy that takes Jack Black's place as the guitarist.
I've never seen that movie.
Do you have that movie?
No, I've never seen it.
Moving right along. Oh, that fell flat. So
I mean,
Lee,
yes, Rusty, I've seen it. Tell me more.
well, at the risk of using a little bit of hyperbole, our show note for basically our show today is dedicated to this. Um, at the risk of using a little hyperbole, let's call it a bombshell development, a dev letter, the developer's diary that came out on June 17th, a few days ago. And Gerson posted a video and read it, but it's called Shaping the Future of Champions. And we're going to talk through it. This is not going to be a blog read. This is not going to be a whatever, right? Just a check the box type deal. We're going to actually talk about like the implications of this letter
Yeah,
and also what's missing from the letter. What
right.
do we hope that is also on the horizon for the future of champions?
Yeah.
So, as Two Bob says, what does he say? Sit back, relax,
Grab
and
some
enjoy some
snacks.
snacks.
Yeah. Shout out to 2Bob29 on YouTube and his also awesome podcast. So I also have something we'll talk about it as we get into it, but I have a theory that could
Yes.
reshape how we understand champions as we go. So don't let me forget.
Okay.
Yeah, don't let me forget. I think that there's some things in this that are just that close to being on the surface that are really going to do some things. So where do we want to start?
Yeah.
We're not going to read it, we said, but we've got it here on screen.
Well, here's where we need to start. This is not even part of the letter at all. Um, Pump the brakes on the speculation about when the new meta will come. Um, the future of champions has already begun. The new meta has already begun, and it's the tier 6 metal meta. We don't have to anticipate when 7 star will arrive. Will it be 6 diamond, 6 emerald, 6 ruby? We've had so many different speculations. 6 platinum. The tier 6 metals have literally changed the game. My experience last weekend in a pretty competitive showdown was I was left scratching my head because I had no clue if my let's for example, Hall of Fame Ron Simmons. I had
Yep.
no clue if he was going to deal 75 million or if he was going to deal 38 million and they were going to kick out. And it was like,
That's a big gap.
what is happening? Like I time after time, I caught myself saying, "What is happening?" I had on tier six, Fury threes, fully optimized. What used to be a one-click win, Hall of Fame Ron Simmons, who's been my go-to for speed. Suddenly, I'm questioning everything I thought I knew about the game, everything I thought I knew about guaranteed damage, everything that I thought I knew about pre calculated damage, everything I thought I knew about plate efficacy and trainer optimization was all completely neutralized.
True.
Thoughts
It,
on that? Thoughts on that? Was that your experience? Was I alone in that? Am I the only person that's going, tier sixes have saturated the game now and they're unavoidable and the game has changed. The future is now.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about the fact that I think that people are underestimating just how amazing the tier sixes are. Really, even just the move from getting rid of all flat damage, because flat damage does not scale. You have like look at I think it's the Miz gear that you talked about, Trickster Miz that you loved way back in the day, and his gear is like
Yeah.
yellow gems do 20 more damage or something like that, and it's like, ooh, like, whoa, spooky. But back in the day that was incredible.
Right.
Yeah, I think, and especially as we get
Right.
back with our power ratings, I know we haven't done any for this month's characters yet, but we will. That's something we have to figure out. We've got to figure out how this is shaped, because those tier six medals, like you said, they might be the difference between 20 million and 60 million, depending on if you have Fury threes and your opponent has armor twos. Like that alone could create a 40 million gap. If you had Fury twos and they had armor twos, or whatever, like it's a lot.
I noticed move damage in particular was almost or essentially zeroed out at times.
Yeah,
They're like, I would hit a move and they had 150% move defense
yeah,
on metals. And I was like, that move didn't even register. And then I'm praying my gems will be sufficient and that they don't also have a way to neutralize that.
right,
That's 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 kind of what it felt like to me, is that like I'm only able to hit for about not half, but half of half of what I could do
right,
had been eliminated. Like meaning move and gem.
right,
Like so one component of damage was removed
right.
completely last weekend in the showdown.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's someone listening right now that's going, "You're wrong.
you're
I didn't experience that at all." That was I almost can hear the contrarian comment saying like, "That wasn't my experience. You're doing something wrong." What would you say to that person?
I mean, you're not doing anything wrong. It really is just the difference of how things are set up. So again, let's go back to when Trickster Miz was the absolute top of the meta. You just got trainers for the first time, right? Like trainers weren't a thing at one point in the game. MP trainers weren't a thing. It was literally just the bare bones basics, and so we've gone from not even having trainers in the game to trainers, coaches, entourage, straps, medals, gear, moments. I mean, you just have to start adding all these things together, and it can be a lot for people, which is why we try to make so much helpful content that's like, here's how these things work. That's why Slim Numbers, Merrick's, all these guys are trying to make content that's like, here's the basics of how this works, because it's not as
Right.
simple as, oh, I'll just use Drew McIntyre. It's like, well, you have these move sets, you've got these gears, and then you've got reversals, you've got, et cetera, et cetera, hot tags. And so, yeah, it's not that you're doing something wrong, but there is just a bit to keep it track of, where you might go up against like someone with your best powerhouse that usually destroys everybody, and maybe they've got somebody who nerfs powerhouses and multi gyms and blah blah blah, and suddenly you literally can't do anything against them, which I think is good. It adds a lot of dynamic play to the game, so it's not just I clicked this button and I won. Done.
Okay, so here's another question. There's somebody out there that would be saying this in the comments. The other contrarian voice I hear is this. Well, you just need to check your matchups. You just need to look before you go into battle. I mean, is that accurate? Is that the fail safe? Is that what ensures my victory? And if so, what even am I looking for if I'm quote checking the matchup?
I mean, yeah, you just have to pay attention to, like, especially reversals. I mean, you can overcome even the tier 6 stuff. You can. I mean, if you do it right. But yeah, like reversals, those will ruin your day, especially. Like, I forget what I was doing in Showdown, but I went in and it was something. Oh, I was using OTC Roman. Like, OTC Roman, and I went up against Jay Uso, and I'm just like, da 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 da. And then I forgot that OTC Roman's move causes bleed, because I don't ever pay attention to that aspect of it. I mean, he destroys them with the multi gems, but Jey Uso reverses bleed. And I laid down my stuff, and all of a sudden I lost their turn one. Like, my turn went away, and OTC Roman, who's one of the most powerful characters in the game, done.
Hmm.
So,
Okay. Well, is there a way to quick check metal matchups that maybe people out there they're feeling the same frustration like I'm feeling? At a quick glance, is there a way to do that in feud or showdown?
I mean, they're kind of working on it more, but you can click on. I don't have those screens up there, but you can click on where you've got the matchups and it shows your two and their two or whatever similar setup. You can click on them and see what they're running. You can see what their moves are. It's not like immediate, but yeah, it's right there after a click or two. You can see what's there. Some of it is just remembering, like, oh, if I'm I mean, really, it's hard. There's a lot. Like, there's a lot to keep in mind. Like, oh, all of the new Hall of Fame characters reverse if you increase your moves with another move. Okay, so I can't go up against a Hall of Fame character if I've got somebody who I'm counting on one move to fill their other moves.
Right.
Multi
And damage.
reversals. All the characters from last month had multi gem reversals, so I got to remember not to use multi gems against. I'll tell you what, the match the character I should say that I am most surprised by is the new Big Boss Man. They've put him on a lot of tours, and I will,
Mhm.
the lower level tours, I'll autoplay and things like that. And I will
Right.
look and I'm like, why is this autoplay match still going? And how in the world did he take down like half my 6-star gold's health? Well, Buck Bossman reverses everything. He is
Yeah.
legitimately the defense. I mean, I didn't rate him as a defensive character. He is the defensive
Right.
monster this game now has. Like, what? He is the new
Yeah.
zombie Stone Cold. That's what he is. He's the new zombie Stone Cold.
He's really fun to put in your showdown defense, I think, and particularly with people that are blowing through multi gems. Like he's problematic for sure because he steals all of the multi gems and the turn. All right, well, let's look at this dev letter because yeah, I just felt like the preface to all of this has to be um, if we're talking about the future, in some sense, we have to acknowledge the future that has arrived
Yep.
with the armor metal meta,
Fair.
um, and the reality of my characters now do very inconsistent damage unless I'm keenly aware of metal matchups.
Yep. Fair.
Um, so first thing, let's talk about the shape of the future, Lee. I don't know who wrote this dev diary, but the tone is completely different from any other piece of writing that I've ever seen from Team Scopely.
Yeah.
It acknowledged the history of frustration. It acknowledged the guy on the forum who says fix everything, right?
In all
Like
caps.
I thought it was a very humble and humorous letter,
Yeah.
and that doesn't that's a different tone. I would say I don't know what I would have called the previous tone, but this feels like someone else is writing it,
Hmm.
or some people else, or a different team, or I have no knowledge of this.
Right.
Did you feel like that? Did you feel like this dev diary is like just has a whole different vibe, as the kids say to it?
Yeah, I mean, it does have a different vibe. Like they've had moments before where they've said we got it wrong, but then it kind of moves back into like what this calls out the hype train or hype trailers and things like that. It kind of moves back to, but yeah, look at this, look at this, look at like it's almost distractionary. Like, oh yeah, yeah, there's that, but look over here, right? This one, it says right here, no smoke and mirrors. No, we're pulling back the curtain. No dates, no hype. Just look at what's guiding our next chapter. Um,
Right.
so
So yeah, I mean, like something we talked about historically on our show is self-awareness. This feels like a very self-aware piece, or a very self-aware release from Scopely.
it does. Yeah, it really does.
Mm.
I think it's very valuable, and you've got the. We're not going to watch it, but we've got the video version of it right there, so you can watch on YouTube by clicking on this link. Gerson
Right.
going through all of this, and G's
Hello,
increased involvement in
champion.
the community. Right. G's
Hello,
increased role
champion.
is good too. I like seeing him back.
Hello, nation. It's me, Gerson, coming to you from French Canada. Hello. That's probably the worst accent of all time, which I will acknowledge.
Yeah,
Uh, but he's a really fun guy. He's
he
really
is.
engaging to watch. And dare I say it, he's the best content creator that Champions has ever had.
Oh yeah.
He's the GOAT. I think we all uh, look to him as like the one who either started it all or perfected it all years ago. So
Yeah, I don't think, because he's been off of that role for so long. I don't think people realize like Gerson is the only Champs creator that was getting 10 and 20,000 views with every video. Like like that was the peak content creator era. And, Merrick's
yeah,
is our current king. DJ's doing great things. I saw that Professor actually with his new role with his History's Greatest Crimes podcast, he's getting more views than he ever did as a champs creator. But I mean that's the high watermark for our community. So
that's great to hear, and congrats, Professor. That's wildly successful. So I think that's really cool. Okay, so Lee, basically, it's talking about rewards in the beginning, right? They're looking for a system that's an experience that's rewarding for everyone, no matter where you are in your journey, or your league, or your roster strength. Where would you say rewards? What does that look like to you? Like, where do rewards need to go?
um
And does that mean the gaming experience is rewarding, or does that mean the rewards within the game are rewarding?
Well, both, because it says your league, your journey, your roster strength. So they're rebuilding key systems. We know some of that because we've seen a little bit advanced behind the scenes, but not a lot. I mean, we don't have much more, and we can't say what we do have, but we can't say we don't have much more than what's being said right here. But I mean, they've kind of looked at game balancing. They've got a brand new format coming with this top of the card thing, which it says it's debuting King and Queen of the Ring, which is coming up soon. Bracketed leaderboards, more rewards with fewer rage quits. I mean, all of those things, like, those are kind of like hot points, so to speak, or just like
Right.
PR, even though this isn't a very PR written letter, that is still kind of where that is like, hey, here's some of the buzzwords. But it does encourage me because, we've said for a long time, like, Scopely actually is listening to you guys. You go on the forums, now the Discord server that Champions has, like, we legitimately know that they are going like, oh, yeah, that guy is right. Usually, as we always say, they don't listen to people who are just, everything sucks, I hate all of you. Like that, you're not going to get heard that way. You're not trying to get heard. You're just trying to be a butt. But when people are like,
Fix
yeah,
the
that will
game.
fix everything, you suck, I hate you. But when you're like, hey, guys, I love this game, but this part is broken, like, we really need to fix this. Like, I've heard them say things where it's like, yeah, they're right. We need to fix that. It's like, they're lit. Like,
Well,
that's encouraging, like, incredibly encouraging.
let me give you my editorial piece, my editorial commentary on this thought is there's nothing better and more rewarding than the power of choice, the ability to choose your reward.
Yeah.
Um, there's a reason we loved as a community the midweek contest and the midweek prize wall. The month long midweek prize wall was the greatest thing in 2025 to happen. And it is now gone. We're 6 months into the year and it's gone. The ability to choose now, the currency was based on your gameplay and your whether you spent a little or didn't. So it was
Right.
scalable, it was fair for everyone. I don't know that we necessarily need the midweek prize wall back, but we need the essence
Mm,
of that to permeate the game's contests so that whether you're free to play, you still get a powerful and good choice that benefits you. Whether you spent a lot, you get a powerful and beneficial choice to reward what you've done.
yeah.
Um, that's to me, that's the fairest thing of all. Not you hear the term RNG, random number generator.
Yeah.
RNG is turns the game into a slot machine where you win sometimes and you lose most of the time. And when you win, you don't get to choose what you've won. It was randomly selected for you by an algorithm. And to me, that's no fun. To me, that's no fun. To me, I like the guarantee. I like the choice. I like the power of saying, okay, if I go really hard this week, I can get this.
Right.
Yeah, but if I don't go very hard, I can still get this. And like that's pretty good. So what say you about the reward of choice versus the RNG? Any pushback or feedback about that?
Um, Not really much pushback. I mean, I think RNG has its place. Like, loopholes, for all that we could say good and bad about them, if it was just spend $20, get the character, I'd be like, oh, okay, I got the character. Woo! Versus like doing the loopholes and going like, I spent $20 and I took a shot, and then when you actually do hit something, it's like the biggest high. Like, there's a place for that. But I absolutely agree with the prize walls. They didn't completely destroy them. I mean, they did for a month and then they pulled it back, kind of a halfway measure to what they are right now. But yeah, the prize walls, the way they were for those several months, gave me the ability to look at my month and go, okay, I want whatever. Let's say it was the Tiffy time moment. I still don't have that thing. And yet I just got, speaking of RNG, thrill of the RNG, I just got Tiffy's gear out of that max milestone from the faction event. And that was like the big, oh, I got something, hooray! Like that gave me that feel. But if I could say, okay, well now I know I really could build Tiffy to be a monster, but I need that Tiffy
Right.
time moment. So there's a path forward for me to get that if I do this, this, and this. Like, those two things go hand in hand well, where there's an element of control and an element of like healthy out of control. Like, that's the best balance when life has a little bit of both. If one's too far, it gets boring. If the other's too far, you feel like you're in chaos and you have no strength left. You need a little bit of both, of
Sure.
control and out of control, to make life interesting.
Well, I guess one reason I throw that this specific subject out there is because if they are trying to discern or decide what is the best way forward for the community that is fair and rewarding, which is the way I read a lot of the intro of this letter,
Right?
I just figure we could put our flag in the ground and say it's the ability to choose. Like that's what really I think drives. Now, I would say yes and about the loot, yes, and there still need to be great contests like Viscera
Yeah.
Weekend where you had choice whether or not to
Just
buy
grab him.
him outright.
Yeah.
That I thought that was very exciting. I did not did not utilize that offer. I did not redeem that offer
I
or
did.
buy that offer. Right? Um, but our faction came alive that whether they bought it or not, they loved that the offer was on the table
Yep.
and that it was. So I just thought, what a great way to um, release randomly. Do that from time to time. I thought that was great.
I agree.
Um,
What
you,
if
you
hold on one second. In the what if in the flow of things they had your B tiers immediately free. I like that they changed that for this month where you get them day one. Your A tier is free, but you got to grind for at least 3 of the 4 weeks. The S tier is now free again. Like there was a time in Champions where you could play through the contest and you could get that S tier, but that one you got to do all 4 weeks, and you've got some little extras here and there you got to do, but they're within reach. Then you have another
yeah,
S or S plus tier that you can buy for $100 outright, and then you've got that S plus tier that legitimately is just difficult to get. They're going to cost you $1,000. They're going to cost you 20 loot pulls. They're going to whatever. But then you've got this spectrum of absolutely free day one all the way up to at least the one character that's like super whaley, and it because there are people in this game, and we've talked about them before, they fund this game a lot of ways with their spending, who don't
sure.
want to just drop $100 and get the character. They actually want the thrill of the chase. So that gives you like literally every single spectrum along the way. I would
Yeah.
love that.
That's what I was hearing you say is variety, a
Yeah.
variety of reward. A variety of reward, which is terrific, and I agree with that. And that covers us all. So, but that's just the beginning. To quote this death letter, that's just the
That's
beginning.
just the beginning.
How how could this even be possible that there would be a system that lets you choose who to level up and how? I don't know what it says, how to power up superstars you love. Not just more numbers, but long-term roster value, more utility, like less regrets. How could that even change? I'm at a loss. I'm completely at a loss for that.
So last night I was recruiting. I was recording the Drew McIntyre content.
Oh, you're being recruited by another faction, you say?
The Battletoads have gotten to me now. No, I was recording the Drew McIntyre content, and I had this like glitch where I accidentally said something, and then went, oh my gosh, what if that's what they're doing? So here's what it is. So a few weeks, or actually a couple months ago, we made a video that said, hear me out. What if 7-star is next month? So I'm going to clip this section out of the overall podcast, make it its own video too, because
Okay.
hear me out. What if stars
Okay.
are going
All right.
away? What if there's no more stars? There is no 7-star coming. What if instead there's a system of progression that's based purely on levels? So as you take characters up certain levels, you have the ability to increase things like certain base stats. Like, we've never been able to, other than just going, okay, well, I moved them from 6 bronze to 6 silver, 6 silver to 6 gold. From 6 gold or 6 silver to 6 gold, my primary color gem value doubled in damage. Great. What if instead it was more of some sort of a dynamic system where you could choose up to a certain cap, like increasing a character's specific gem colors? Think about this. Think about Zombie Undertaker. Zombie Undertaker was great for a hot minute, but his gem
Okay.
color of choice is green, and he is blue. Blue's his primary color. Green is, I think, his tertiary color, his third most powerful color. What if instead of buffing his blue gems on like a star level up, you could buff his green gem damage instead, and all of a sudden green gem damage can become equal to his primary color. Now all of a sudden Zombie Undertaker is doing way more damage than he was before. And that's an outdated old example, but I mean the star
Okay.
levels basically just upgrade you on a set system. Everybody moves up by this. Every health pool moves up by this. What if instead of stars, you could kind of assign like points, or I don't know, whatever, but you could assign something where, yeah, I want my health to go up, or I don't want my health to go up at all. I'm happy with a 30 million health pool. I want my move damage to get all of that buff, or something like that. Because let's be honest, 7-star is kind of the make or break point for the future of this game. If 7-star comes out, they have to do something with the moves. They have to do something with that. But then it's basically just this linear path of, oh, well, then 7 silver is going to be a gem damage meta, and 7 gold's going to, like it. But something like that does allow you then to invest in the characters you care about, because that's the line that has been haunting me. We're talking about long-term roster value, fewer why did I level this regrets, which means there's some way coming to take that Piper Niven that maybe somebody on this podcast grabbed instead of the Piper plate and build her up to be a monster. I don't know. This is
I
just my thinking out loud. What do you think so far, Rusty?
Well, I think I may be going way too hard after Piper Niven's gear this month to try to justify the mistakes of the past. I think I might be making a mistake of the present to do that.
Right?
So I don't know, Lee. I mean, like conceptually, I like that. I have no idea how that would be implemented
I don't
into
either
the
yet.
game. It seems like talent level, 35K or what does Iron Sheik always talk about? Like 39,898 or whatever, the
Right?
max talent number, like that threshold would have to be increased
It
to
will
what?
be. Yeah.
We're talking 70K talent. And then you
Right.
choose your own adventure of how you get there. You
Yeah.
can get there by raising HP, or you could get there by raising, green gem damage alone. That makes the game a lot more complicated as far as like a RPG, or like and like I'm okay with that. Like like if I could take Rock and Roman and only boost red move damage,
Right.
like I may push him if it scales, and
Right.
that's where that's the asterisk, right? If it scales, because
Yeah.
like some guys are going to do it for the memes. Some guys are going to take that whatever Tech Dean or Gold Dust, with 5 hollow stars and push him to the moon for the memes.
Are you
But
calling
it
out my
doesn't
talent up
scale.
video?
Well, I'm just saying, right? It doesn't scale. It doesn't scale, right? So like you just do it to just like, well, I need the contest points,
Yep.
right? So that for me, that's the asterisk. Okay, if it scales, all
Yep.
right. Like that'd be cool. I'd like to take up the people I really like, and neglect the people I don't. Um, but I'm not sure how that impacts CSS, right? And that's the other thing is like, what does that mean when it comes time for contests for feud?
Right.
I don't know. It sounds like a lot of dominoes would have to start falling if
Right.
that change was made. But
Right.
I don't
And
know.
maybe it's not as detailed. I mean, because I spent most of my life playing Final Fantasy, RPGs, that kind of stuff. So maybe I'm getting too in the weeds and that's not even a possible thing that's coming. But I mean, just the way they language or the language they write on this of, long-term roster value, more utility, like being able to use more characters more ways. When you just do 7-star, like let's say 7-star is just okay, everybody's health pool doubles, everybody's move damage goes up 50%, everybody's gem damage goes up 25%. Well, you still still have the same characters pretty much that are on top. I mean, you shift it a little bit towards move damage. So your move damage guys are a little bit better for a while, but then it inevitably comes right back to gem damage and multi-gems being the top of the pile. So it always self-corrects back to multi-gem, multi-damage, yeah, you heard me. And so it always ends up in the same place. What they're describing to me feels like it's something dramatically different. And so even if 7 star does come, it feels like they're not just doing the same thing they did from 4 to 5, 5 to 6. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just dreaming too big, but it does seem like something's in the works. And no matter what, like think about the dev hours they would have to put into this. Going to 7 star in the traditional way that we've understood the game is going to require a buttload of dev hours because 670 plus characters have to get a new move. So there's a new move.
Right.
It's their third color. That means you have to look at every single move set of every single character in the game. Make sure that the B tiers stay B tiers, that the S tiers stay S tiers, that nobody is like dramatically overpowered. I mean, that alone would take 2 years of dev work just right there. So maybe they just invested that year or two of dev work into something different than we expected. That's all I'm saying.
Well, okay, so one thing that might be a shortcut there is if the new move, the 7 star move, or was simply a boost move, right? A boot like everyone gets it, and it's like boost gem damage, whatever, 2 times the current threshold, or boost move damage. So like arguably it could be a generic boost that's available to unlock, and whether or not you wanted to do it, right? So then,
Right.
like, wouldn't that be interesting? Like, whatever damage is, like, increase your superstar's total damage by 50% if that was the boost move, or whatever. So
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know.
We of course we'll find out all this. They'll clarify it, and we'll know.
And we'll
And
know.
their ideas will likely be better than ours. And maybe some of our
Usually.
ideas will be better than, and they can give us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just
Well,
respond real quick to a thought on B-Rocks here, real quick, because he said, well, the problem with that is they wouldn't be able to monetize it well. But if, like, for example, the tiers came into play, like a B tier character can only go up to a maximum of so many points. An A tier character, blah, blah, blah. So, like, the base is actually higher for an S plus tier than an S tier. That means you have more points to play with if you've got an S plus tier or blah blah, etc. So you can still, they're still going to do something to make sure that Striker Gold Dust, like you said, stays not the top of the meta.
right,
Gold Dust.
right.
Right. All right. Now
I
take
mean,
it
I
over. Run us
gosh,
somewhere else.
Zelda's such a great character. Like the whole Rhodes family, their wrestling IQ is so high, above most other. So okay. So the next thing we got to hit: fixing what's broken, um, upgrading what's outdated. Lee, what? Let's get into some of the minutia here. Like, what would you say needs to be prioritized for the future, as like this needs to be updated, or this isn't working? Is there anything that comes to mind when you read that initially? Like, I hope they do this. They do this
Yeah.
first.
I mean, like smarter UI, for example. But just real quick before I forget to say it, Slim Numbers posted in our one of our Discord servers that we share. I feel called out when it says you don't need a spreadsheet and a support. Like Slim Numbers lives on spreadsheets and he's so good at it. But no, so a smarter UI. So for example, one of the things that finally got fixed years, for after years of asking for it, was strap filters. But what we do still have problems with is there's 670 plus trainer coaches in the game, and I have to sit there and scroll for 20 minutes to try and find the very basic Woods, whether he's purple or black gem or move increase, I have to scroll for 10 minutes to try and find that guy on my own roster and especially on our candy store accounts, our
Uh,
CC accounts, where everything's leveled pretty much the same. That would be a UI example where that would save an immense amount of time if I could even just type in Jay. Oh, there's Jay Uso done. As opposed to scroll, scroll. Okay, I think mine is
right,
6-star silver, which means he's going to be 31K talent, which means, oh, but he's attached to somebody else. And that means he's in this section, not this section. So, I mean, just the mental math you have to do to add a trainer, that could be solved
right.
in a second if they fix the UI.
And are you also including the categories of like where you click gym damage, move damage, MP fill, submission? Do you think there needs to be more sortable categories or just a direct search bar? Would that eliminate the searchable categories?
I think you need both. I mean, because if you know which trainer or coach you're looking for, like I know I'm looking for Xavier Woods to buff my purple MP. That's a very specific use
Yeah.
case. But like for example, I was going through with the new Drew that I was doing our preview video for, which will drop in 3 hours, less than three
Oh,
hours, and reinforced gems. And I'll admit it on our preview video. I'll call it out in advance before it goes live. I totally
breaking
missed
news.
Zombie Sammy.
Lee has just given you proprietary information that violates his NDA,
It does
telling
not.
you that the new Drew does reinforced gyms. You heard it here
It does
first.
not. The blog
Breaking
says. The
news.
blog says
Is
it.
break- Breaking
You're
news.
gonna get
Iron
yourself in
Sheik
trouble.
replaces Lee on Champions Chat. You heard it here first.
Oh
Welcome
my
to Champions
goodness.
Chat with Rusty and Slim Numbers.
Oh, there may come a day. No, no, but I missed Zombie Sammy as reinforced gym coach. Like I was tired. It was late. He
Sure.
still hit for insane damage. So nobody's gonna be like, "Oh, how dare you not do that?" Like I tried to say, like, "Hey, I'm showing him in a way that you're not using all the biggest stuff just to get the big hit, but he can do a
Right.
billion damage. Anyway, but like if there were just a sortable category where I could go reinforce gems and then make or create, or I'm sorry, create or
Right.
buff or whatever, like as opposed to just like create gems, but it's create every single type of gem that's in the game now, which is still a list. I can't even get on the screen here that long, but if it was specifically reinforced gems. Oh, here's my options for make, create, destroy, buff,
Yeah.
multiply, whatever, it doesn't matter. That in itself is a lot different ask than just searching for Jey Uso or Xavier Woods.
So that's what you want more than anything. That's the thing you hope gets fixed or updated.
It's
No, I'm
one
just
thing.
serious. Is that what so when I read smarter UI, okay, that means you're in smarter UI.
Right.
Like my first thought was that means more difficult opponents to face in the game that are computer operated. I think my
The
brain
AI.
read smarter so yeah, yeah. So you took it a totally different place than I did. I was like, oh, less squash matches, I guess, right? That means
Right.
like smarter UI. Like the opponent it doesn't do their moves in the wrong order any when you
Right.
face them. But you're right though. Better tools to manage your roster. And in cleanup mode, Lee, the thing I want more than anything because of my I don't know, I don't want to say OCD. I think that's insensitive to people that actually have OCD. But because of my fixation on order in the game,
Mm-hmm.
I want the inventory cleanup mode. I want
Oh my
to
gosh, yes.
eliminate old. Now, if I can get any value whatsoever out of it, good. But if I could just make it all go away, even of no value, the peace it would bring me and the sanity it would bring me would be so worth it. And I would say the same would go for the Ghostbusters moment that I will never have a chance to redeem ever. And it hangs there at, not, it hangs there locked at O of 1.
Right.
Let me clear it out. Let me have my sanity back. champions, and so when I read cleanup mode, I think all those stupid Royal Rumble tickets that we got recently. Why isn't there a way to make them go away? Adding more. Old steps is another example,
Oh
like
yeah,
old steel
that I
steps.
forgot to equip.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's like it just reminds me of how stupid I am all the time, right? Or like
Right.
old loot coins or prize wall medallions. They all of my greatest mistakes, it lived there like the hall of shame, and I want it to go away. And I think so does
Wow.
everyone else.
Oh yeah,
So
since you started this topic, there's more comments coming in over there than anything we've said
all
so
right.
far. So okay,
And
so here's an
maybe go.
idea for the devs. What if with each event, every single one in the game, it was coded so simply that like if you have prize wall medallions you don't use, you could convert them to points for that event. Like not a game-changing amount of points, but what if
Right,
I had 5,000 prize wall medallions and they were worth 2 contest points each? That's 10,000 points
right.
on the event. I would do that sometimes. But I would certainly do it with
Yeah.
the 55 leftover Hulk Hogan's mustaches that I have from Ho Ho Hogan 5 years ago or whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even saying, oh, I need to get pulls for unused pulls.
Right.
Like,
Contest
if you
points.
can't convert it to anything, yeah, keys, the keys. I mean, dude, I just endless keys that you can't redeem at the very end of the contest. It's like it just kills me. It kills me that I'm reminded of how dumb I am all the time. I look at that stuff. So,
Yeah.
um, back to the
Yeah.
letter. Back to the letter. We skipped over it, but I mean, I'm assuming the daily speed is live. And Lee, people are already posting free superstars that they're claiming
Yeah.
out of the box on the speed tour. Do you think that's going to continue? Do you think they're going to let that happen?
Yeah, they've said that they are. Well, I don't know if it's going to be continued to be. I mean, there's your RNG though. That's where RNG is like, oh my gosh, I got. I saw somebody who got Queen Zelina. Not a game changing character, but they're like, I've
Naya.
been chasing her for so long. Hooray!
Shout out
Right there,
my
you go.
friend Brewster who got Nia Jax, the brand new striker Nia, the first day of
Holy
the speed
crap!
tour.
Wow, that's a
First
big one.
first day, dude. I'm like, wait a second, let me hit that. And I got like Lita, Showboat Lita shards, 3K. And I was like,
Right.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now that was a great hit for him. So
Right.
no shame there. But dude, more ways to get resource are always good,
Yeah.
right? Like with new career mode tours go live, like I love clearing them out and building up my inventory and having even just the basic currency, coin and TP. We always need it. You'll
Yep.
never there's never a day that you don't need coin and TP, in-game cash, moment tokens.
Right.
It's what it takes to play the game,
Right.
right? So
Yep.
I like it. I like the speed tour. I had a little hope that oh, by the way, about the RNG in the bag, if you haven't watched the dev video starring Gerson, go watch it. Okay. Pause, come back to it. He was surprised at how good the stuff in the speed tour crate was. Remember, he
Yeah.
was like, there's some pretty good stuff in here. Whoa, Striker Naomi. Okay, there's some really good stuff in here. Maybe it's too good.
Whoops.
And I was like he hadn't seen it and he was genuinely surprised at how good some of the grabs were. So
Yeah.
I thought that was endearing.
Right.
Endearing,
It is
right? So
endearing. You know what this actually reminds me of though? Like what's old is new. The speed tour is basically the Undertaker Daily. Remember when you had to go through and like there
right.
was a specific color tour for each
Daily.
day and the Dead
But
Man
hold
Daily?
on.
What's that?
Remember, it used to be called Dean's Daily in the early days. Do you remember
Oh,
that?
no, I didn't play when it was Dean's Daily. It was always the Dead
It
Man's
was,
Daily for me.
yeah, it was based on whatever his name is from the Shield. Moxley. I don't even know what the kids. What is this? Malenko? No,
John
Dean.
Moxley. Yeah.
Jimmy Dean sausage. I don't
Jimmy
know what
Dean
his name
Sausage
was.
Daily. You need one of those. But yeah, I mean
There
that's
it is.
basically what it is, except for you're playing it
Oh,
again. So,
yeah.
like, they added a way to play the Undertaker Daily again because we auto clear now the Undertaker Daily. So, what if we get rid of the Undertaker Daily and the Monday through Friday thing, or move speed in place of the Undertaker Daily, but just make it where you can't clear it instantly? Like, that was the big thing. Like, they got rid of it because people were like, I hate having to do this every day. What's old is new. Now you have something to do again
But
every day.
and it was necessary.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
resources, like farming and grinding that too, are essential.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, yeah. So, updating, fixing outdated, etc. Is there anything we haven't covered? Because like this says the big stuff still under wraps.
Right.
So like, what would be your hopes and dreams of like what the future could hold for champions?
Well, it says you'll hear more soon. Maybe even get your hands on it early if you're lucky or loud enough. That was like a wait. So if I complain loud enough, you're gonna make me access. Anyway, I'm gonna get access for being whining. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, we're tightening the bolts and we're building new stuff, big stuff, systems that give you more control, more strategy, more reasons to say, oh yeah, that was a smart reason by me. So this doesn't sound like oh, we're tweaking the color of the gems so that they're a slight bit more shiny, right? This sounds like
Okay.
we are redoing interfaces. We are reimagining like the star system. We are, and maybe I'm getting too big with it, but the nice thing is they don't give you a
Thank you.
timeline so that they're holding themselves to this has to be done by next week. Like they're just saying, we're getting this done. And as it rolls out, you're going to be happy with it. And I'm good with that. That tells me they're continually investing in the game that I love so that a year from now, 2 years from
Sure.
now, 5 years from now, it's better than it ever was. And I'm happy with that.
All right. All right. I mean, so you're just happy with the effort. You're there's no what do we call them? BHAGs. There's no big, hairy, audacious goals that you have for the game, kind of lurking out there. Can I share one of mine with you? Like,
Sure.
I, you've heard me. I think you've heard me talk about this before. Um, there was a time where my favorite mobile game was called Bejeweled Blitz. It was a gym breaker game. It was the first gym breaker game I ever played.
Right.
And it was like a 60-second race against the clock. Swipe the gym board as fast and furiously as you can. No special moves, nothing like that. No animations at the top. It was just gyms. And when I first saw that they were going to add a speed mode, I thought, oh man, this is it. Finally, I just get a chance to like break gyms in a fun way and try to get like beat my own high score in kind of this race against the clock mode. I still think that is very low fruit for champions. And I think it could be very, very fun and maybe even a way to earn reward points or currency or resource to use in other game modes, right? If you think about like it's essentially like what the Stip Tour is, except it's the opposite.
Right.
Stip Tour is like a turn-based mode where you try to get max score turn-based. So what if it instead of turn-based, if it was time-based, right?
Right.
And so then so yeah, so like what if a four match was worth more than a three match? What if a five match had a multiplier
Right.
in it? Or what if multi gems, just dropped into the game suddenly, right? So it's not your move setting all that up, but the furious pace in which you're breaking gems. I think that would be super, super, super engaging and a great way to pass time on that Sunday night before the new MLC starts. Spent all your keys and you're sitting there just staring at it, going, well, what do I can't even play this thing. I can't even. There's nothing to do, right?
Right.
So that would be my solution: is you just start grinding that speed match, you know. So that's my audacious, outrageous idea, proposal, plan, scheme, and pitch for the future of champions.
That's awesome. I like it. It'd be fun. Just make it Bejeweled. Just make it Bejeweled.
Yeah, you have to wonder, is there some proprietary, reason that they can't do that, or is it a thing that's like, yes, I don't know. I don't know any of those businessy reasons why we can't do it. And I'm sure there might be some. Maybe that's just a dream that will never happen.
Who
Like
knows?
me getting Johnny Knoxville on my roster.
He's
Or
outdated
Turtle
now.
Raphael
Oh.
or Casey Jones.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a list of broken dreams this game has given me. So
I feel broken dreams. Wasn't that Drew McIntyre's theme song back in the day? Did we just make this full circle? I think it was.
maybe,
I think we just went
maybe.
full circle. That was appropriate because I'm pretty sure his theme song was like the "I got broken dreams." Yeah. Anyway, well, that's all the time. Yay, Zandel! Thank you. It was all right. I made a good connection at the end there.
Awesome.
Yeah, professionals. That's right, Spotter Well, Rusty, anything else you got for us on this one?
Well, I'll say this, guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, kind of on demand after the fact, we'd love for you to do a few things. Number one, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you don't already. We have a subscription goal of trying to get to like 7,000 subscribers, which feels like one of those things
Oh,
I mentioned, a big, hairy, audacious goal.
it's
Um,
Harry. All right.
we also have an audio version of this podcast that we put out on like Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We have some goals to try to reach the monetization mark there, but our subscribers are actually too low still, even though the audio podcast is what brought us to the table. It was kind of our first form, if you will. So we want to try to reinvigorate our audio podcasts. So just search out a Champions Chat podcast. You might even type WWE Champions Chat podcast on your preferred platform and give us a subscribe there. And then, if you haven't done so yet, go to twitch.tv/ Champions Chat podcast and give us a follow because, again, we have a lot of possibilities and opportunities with using Twitch, and yet most of them are contingent upon our viewer base. And so
Right.
help us out. We've got like 3.5 thousand of you that subscribe to us on YouTube. If we could push some of that momentum to Twitch, some really cool things would happen, and we could start doing some giveaways there and Twitch drops, and really the sky's the limit for both for us and for you guys and what you'll receive from us. So, all that to say, that's my quick pitch on how you can help us because our commitment is to help you in this game as best we can. With all that being
Absolutely.
said, friends, we will see you next time.
Bye.